and welcome to Coffee and a Weather Map with Jeff. I'm Jeff, obviously, and here we are going to start analyzing a map, or I actually already analyzed a map. We're going to go through today's weather here pretty quickly, just because of the fact that we do have some interesting weather up here in northern Michigan, where we happen to be at the moment. And things are quiet in South Texas. Since this is all a part of my South Texas, Northern Michigan recreational weather site that I have, which is over at ministry-weather.com, as well as then recreational weather on Facebook and Instagram, as well as then also STX/NM Rec Weather on X. All right, to get started, I looked at the 9Z, which is 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time or 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time map here this morning. You can see a front that stretches pretty much out of Canada as a cold front and then becomes stationary, at least at that time, overnight with several lows across it. We'll start seeing a little bit more about the lows here in a bit. This high here that's right in the middle of everything, and then you see the word outflow boundary and that little dashed line. That's where the complex of thunderstorms moved through last night from Kansas into Oklahoma, and there is some severe weather out there. And we also note a dry line out in West Texas off of the other low that's out there. Here's a more recent map, which is the from 13Z, and that would be 9 o'clock Eastern time and or 8 o'clock Central. You can still see that kind of area of low pressure that moves out in West Texas with the dry line out there that I had analyzed. All my isobars went from black to white when it changed over here. Not sure what that is. I'll have to figure that out later on. Otherwise, the green lines are the dew points, and you can see there's a pretty healthy area of 75 plus dew points across the Gulf Coast, pretty much from the panhandle of Florida all the way down to Brownsville. That moisture's been working its way in, and if we actually looked at the precipitable water map, we're probably close to 2 inches of liquid of precipitable water in the atmosphere across the middle Texas coast, and then all the way up into the Gulf Coast states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. There's quite a plume of moisture that's been coming in, and that's due to the southeast monsoonal flow, if you want to call it that. It's the tropical season, so this is when those southeast winds take precedence and take hold of the area. All right, we'll take a look at the upper air pattern. We have an area of a, again, as I've been saying in the blog post the last couple of days, a weak jet across the northern part of the U.S. with very little flow down in the deep South Texas or South Texas, going along, just some ridging areas. We have a trough in the center of the country, and that's been what's been kicking off the thunderstorms. So the main area of the trough looks to be in this general area. This trough here, should probably switch to a different color. And with these being part of the shortwave that kicked off this the complex of thunderstorms, it's down here in Kansas and Oklahoma, and that kind of messes up these little shortwaves here. These little X's kind of mess up things. There is another little area of thunderstorms up here that's kind of moving through as well, and so they can add to the upper air pattern a little bit more. But the main forcing right now is out here, going into Canada with the right entry jet, rear entry, the right rear quadrant, and then the left front quadrant here, with the next low up here. So we got another jet streak that'll be coming across. That'll probably look to do something on Thursday, or well, it'll be Friday when it comes through. Don't know if that's going to do anything here in Michigan at this point. SPC doesn't have a day 4 outlook for us. The day 3 shows everything ending in Wisconsin and the western Upper Peninsula with a slight risk on day 3. So we'll see. The Weather Prediction Center has marginal heavy rain in the UP all the way to around Sault Ste. Marie by that time as well. So we will move on from this. All right, looking at the satellite picture, you can kind of see where those features are I was talking about, and to give you a little bit better idea of where that is, here's the surface pattern from 9Z and actually the last several hours. You can see everything kind of going along that front. I can't do animated GIFs. Okay, so the main area is that the trough of low pressure, which you saw earlier, which kind of goes from the Great Lakes down through Oklahoma and into West Texas. That's the main issue for the day. It will be that front. And just to take a look at the upper air pattern, as we kind of looked at the one earlier going on, you can kind of see one of those X's is associated with that cluster of thunderstorms, and then the main one is lagging back here, which is what's going to help kick off things here a little bit later on today. All right, for those of you who are interested in the tropics, really the only thing that's going on out there is Tropical Storm Eric, which is supposed to become, at least at one point, a category 2 probably hurricane, and they're still showing that as a hurricane. Looking at the plot here, quick go into this real quick. So these are hurricane symbols here, the H's. There's no M's in here, so that would be a category 3 or higher. So they're expecting that to go make landfall sometime a little bit before noon on Thursday. It is expected to intensify pretty rapidly here as the winds start to aloft begin to weaken during that time. And here's the times for the arrival of the tropical storm force winds. You can see as we zoom in a little bit that it's on Thursday morning. They would start getting tropical storm effects at least further up the coast, while they could see it sooner down towards Oaxaca and the Bay of Tehuantepec with around Wednesday at 8 p.m. So to go on here, and I keep forgetting to do this blog post, but it's a little bit messy map here, but this is from Everything Weather. My friend Corey, who works at the office in Corpus Christi, has been developing this on his own. I happen to be a beta tester on the phone version. And so, but it has some really nice features on it. One of which is being able to put all the outlooks on the radar map. And you can turn off the radar, you can turn things on and off. I can't do that right now. I am currently in a solid mode here, so we'll go through it. Like I said, it's a pretty busy map with most of it right through the middle of the country. You can see in South Texas, around Corpus Christi, they're not really expecting anything. No thunderstorms today, no moderate rain, marginal heavy risk rain at least. The rest of the upper Great Lakes, though, however, is where some of this action is going to go, with the main focus probably going to be down there where that blue, well, it's not a box, but that blue polygon is, and that's a discussion about the possibility of a watch for the mid-Mississippi and the lower Ohio River Valley coming up here in the next hour or so. I think they had it at a 40% chance, so from SPC. Otherwise, there's an enhanced area. I think I broke this up into, yes. Well, we can start off with the possibility of heavy rain being produced with flash flooding. And that goes all the way up with a slight risk all the way up to the Alpena area, and as far north on the west side of the state as Ludington. So basically Ludington to roughly Grayling to Alpena, and then any point south, there's a marginal risk for exceeding flash flood guidance. You can see there's also a fair amount of rain showers that have been moving through already, but as we get that front, which is still kind of hung up over us, and the low pressure, or the upper level shortwave troughs to move through the other areas of low pressure in the upper atmosphere, then those will combine to help get things going for some possible heavy rain. All right, looking at the SPC map for today, you can see an enhanced risk that goes all the way as far north as Lansing and Detroit, and the backside of it getting to around Chicago, and then all the way down into the mid-Mississippi and lower Ohio River valleys. With that, the thunderstorm complex that's moving through Oklahoma today is expected to probably trend downward here during the next hour or two, but there is still a chance as that front is still just off to the west, and that'll be trying to push through, so more thunderstorms could fire up during the afternoon there. Our main idea here in northern Michigan looks like we're in the marginal, which goes from about Frankfort over to Bel Air to about Alpena, and that's south. So there could be a few strong thunderstorms that come through this. We'll see how this goes. It doesn't bode well, as if you were looking at the satellite, you saw a lot of clouds over us already, and it's a lot of high clouds, which tends to keep our heating from getting too out of hand. And if it does that, that's why we're probably in the marginal, and it wouldn't be surprising if we didn't really see a whole lot north of US 10. It's that slight risk further south, and then the enhanced risk for the rest of the area downstate that really is the concern as we go into. And then the state of Indiana looks like it is under the gun specifically, so that'll be quite an interesting afternoon. We'll see how things go. I could, depending on my schedule, possibly go live here with some of the thunderstorms, especially if they're up here in northern Michigan, since everything else, there are others out there, Ryan Hall, Max Velocity, those guys will cover this stuff, and I know that their plans are for today to watch a lot of this stuff going through the area. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more hyper-local and focused, with focusing on northern Michigan or South Texas, depending on what's going on, or both if I have to. So, all right. So thanks for listening, and take care.